Okay, we're ready to go. Hi. So, what was your name?
Boshko.
Boshko. Little bit I learned about Boshko. Boshko's from Belgrade, Serbia.
Exactly.
And you came to the U.S. when you went to college in Kentucky.
Mm-hmm. That's what landed me in the U.S., and I had to look up where Louisville, Kentucky was because I didn't know. I just got a letter that that's where I got to go to school, and I was like, okay.
So what year did you went to Louisville?
Yeah, I went to Louisville. I was there for 6 years for school. Yeah.
That's actually such a crazy coincidence. Growing up, I was a huge fan of the Louisville basketball team.
Oh, yeah. They're big.
Yeah?
Yeah, Rick Pitino was
Yes.
at the time the coach.
Yeah, what years did you go?
I landed there in 98.
Mm-hmm.
So I was there from 98 to 04, and that's when I moved to New York.
And basketball is actually a huge sport in Serbia too, right?
Yes. We have a lot of good basketball players, and we just won some championship.
Yeah.
Like a few.
The
a
year
few
prior, you won, I think, the World Cup.
Yeah.
And then now.
It was some European championship.
Yeah.
I forget exactly what it was,
Yeah.
but I was reading everybody was like cheering, and when the basketball players came, they were like kind of like an equivalent to City Hall, and everybody was like, kind of freaking out, and they had a big welcome by the people.
Oh my God, that's awesome. So when you first got to Kentucky, like what was the culture shock?
The culture shock was to kind of how you navigate the city, like a Midwestern, even though like people wouldn't consider Louisville a Midwestern city, but it's kind of laid out like most Midwestern cities are in the U.S. that are about 1.5 million people, and it's just very different from how you navigate like a European city that I grew up. That's about 1 million people where you walk everywhere, and there things are segregated, and you have to be in a car everywhere.
Yeah. Wait, you have to be a car?
No, in Louisville.
In Louisville,
to get from most points A to B, you have to have a car. You can't
You didn't have to have a car all the time in Louisville?
Well, when I was in college, at first I didn't have a car. I took the bus and walked. But then later, like when I started working and stuff, you kind of have to have a car. So I got a car.
And what were the people like in Louisville?
At first it was strange. I didn't connect to that many people because they were all kind of knew each other from their Catholic high school, so it was a Catholic college. But then later, I met some amazing people that I'm still friends with, and I'm still in touch, and some people, the closest people in my life that I met were from there.
That's so amazing. Okay, so you still keep in contact with a lot of people you just met?
Yeah, with a handful of people,
That's
absolutely.
amazing. And so what brought you to New York? I don't think I asked you about that.
Because what I was studying, which was like contemporary art as a curator, I didn't apply. I didn't get jobs where I applied, and then I figured, well, New York makes the most sense to move to for what I wanted to do. So that's why I came here.
What is it that you wanted to do?
I wanted to do to work on exhibitions and work with younger living artists that work in contemporary art.
Are you an artist yourself?
I'm beginning to be. I think I was like a closeted artist for the longest time, but now I kind of...
What does closeted artist mean? Like what sort of dreams would you have at the time?
Well, I think it was just sort of like not acting upon your dreams or your creative kind of impulses that you have, that you're always kind of like organizing or taking care of other people and of their art. And I mean, I was writing about it because there's a creative part to it, but actually kind of doing it and making it wasn't really something that I was doing. So I kind of am finally coming out of my shell recently.
That's amazing. That's kind of how I feel about this moment right now. Yesterday, I was walking around with the same bag, all the equipment, and I was just looking at people. I was just looking at people like, am I going to interview them? Am I going to say something? Am I going to start it? And that's pretty much like what was going through my head the whole day. I went the whole day, didn't talk to a single person, just literally walked and stared at them. So
exactly,
I know the feeling.
Well, I think that's where it starts first, with that kind of realization that you have this thing inside of you that you really want to kind of manifest or make or record or whatever it is. And then you have to get over those hurdles to be like, it's valid. This is what I want to do, whatever it is. And then put it out into the world. And sometimes there's a little bit of fear and, anxiety and stuff. Is
Yeah.
gonna be good enough? Am I good enough to do this and stuff? We judge, or I should speak for myself, like, kind of like judge myself a little bit. But then I think, with courage and stuff, you just kind of do it.
Yeah. What I told myself, like, this morning was, like, if I wasn't actually afraid to do this, if I didn't feel that, like, anxiety over it, then it's not worth doing, Then it's not going to be rewarding. If I'm not, like, genuinely freaking out, like, the fear is a good thing,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could be a good thing that, like, that pushes us to kind of, the lecture that I told you that I was last night at Pioneer Works.
Yeah.
It was a psychologist guy, and he's like, anxiety can sometimes be, like, productive because it can make us to want to be perfect or to do things, like, in line.
Right. Yeah, do you think we kind of have a little bit of a misconception on anxiety in that way?
I think maybe, like, there's a misconception if it's, like, if we talk about, like, serious mental health issues versus, like, kind of like it could be like a creative, not creative, but like a motor for us to do things or keep on our toes and stuff. So it's just kind of like if it's like debilitating you to get out of bed, then, like, you probably need to seek help.
Yeah.
But, like, if it could be what we talked about, it can be kind of like a productive, let's say, thing.
I think that's a great, like, way to contrast the two types of anxiety, because I know where you're from in Serbia, they definitely have a much different outlook than Americans probably do on anxiety, right?
Well, I don't know. I would rephrase that. We have, like, I think there's a lot of things that the society went through in the last 30 years and maybe hasn't dealt with some things because of, like, the wars and things and stuff, that there's residues of that. But I think their outlook on what I think what you're pointing to is maybe, like, the outlook for life, outlook on life in general is a little bit different, because I think here it's like time is money, and you have to, like, schedule your coffee 14 days in advance with someone, where there it's like you call somebody and they're like, what are you doing, like, now or this afternoon? Do you want to meet, like, in an hour or tomorrow? So there's a little bit more room for spontaneity. And I think that here, because especially in a place like New York, everybody's on a rhythm where it's so packed, and so everybody wants, which is not a bad thing. People want to achieve things and do things. But then again, it's about balance. Do we let ourselves to be in the moment, or are we, like, programming every minute of the day? And I'm reading this book right now.
Tell me about it.
That's called 4,000 Weeks.
4,000 Weeks.
By Oliver Burkeman.
Let's put it to the
and
camera.
It's basically an average lifespan of 80. We have 4,000 weeks in our life. And how do we want to spend them? And it really helped me going back to anxiety. It really helped me the way he writes. It's a little bit self-help, but not in a, in a very informative, also philosophical way, that a lot of it is about, like, our anxiety to control time. And at the core, he thinks that it's because we can't grasp with the idea that, it's about death and we're going to die one day. But it was really, like, a lot of, like, first, like, half or something I was, like, underlining, because I could see myself. I could recognize myself in it with these things that are about, like, controlling the time and trying to do too many things. And he breaks some myths that, like, or how to manage your time better and stuff. It's not about that. So I highly recommend it. Yeah,
that sounds super interesting. And it brought me back, like, that whole description you said about where Americans are racing against the clock to get things done, to conquer, to accomplish constantly. Like, it brought me back to the point you said earlier in this conversation, where you had this realization now that had been building up inside of you for a while, that you wanted to be an artist, and now you're embarking on that. Because maybe it feels right, maybe the time is right for all that to come out of you. And I just thought about why maybe at such a young age I feel so pressured to try and do things at such an early age, even though a lot of times I'm not ready for that, you know? It's not the right moment. I'm trying to force things. So it's definitely just living in the moment and having patience with myself, and then
and that you should really look at the book.
Yeah, I will.
Because it's
I
all,
actually
he talks
definitely will.
about that, about patience. There's a whole chapter for patience.
Wow.
And actually like being in the moment and stuff. So a lot of things that you're alluding are kind of like meandering throughout the whole book.
Yeah, and to go back a little bit about Serbia, I definitely, I think I just spoke based on Serbian figures that I see, you know? They seem like all these strong-minded people, like nothing can break them in a way, at least with the people I see in American culture.
Sure.
But I think those might be, from what I'm hearing, might be a little bit of a misconception about Serbia.
Well, no, it is like if you there is truth to it. If you look at a like average sort of like Serbian man, they're going to be like kind of strong, you know, and very kind of like what you're describing. It's a very there's truth to that, although, you know, like with anything in life, you can't say that like every Serbian man is like that, you know, but there is something in the culture that it's like a little bit what you were alluding to.
Yeah. And so now living in New York, I
just want to preface, I still keep the connection. I go every year.
Yeah.
And, like, I to see family and stuff.
And what is that like?
Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
I really love it because it's a really nice contrast to my life here, and I feel very lucky that I am able to kind of do that, and that I have kept the, you know, I haven't lived there for 25 years now, and I had the privilege to keep the connection and go every year and see and nurture those relationships and friendships and family ties.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. What's your family like in Serbia?
Well, my immediate family, I'm an only child, and they're all, my mom, dad, and grandma are deceased, but like I have cousins and an aunt in our family home that live there, and nephews, and some extended family, and friends from grade school, from high school, from, you know, they're awesome.
What do your friends say about you now that you're in the city? Do they have like, I don't know, do they...
There was a weird okay, this is not like this is not a close friend, but this summer when I was there, I didn't really know how to interpret it, but I was like at this like gathering, and he's like, "Oh, you got like more American." You know, I was like, "What does that mean?" You know, he was like, "Well, you're wearing." He was like basing it off. It was very, I don't know, I feel it was very superficial. He was basing it off my haircut and outfit.
Okay. Yeah. No.
So yeah, I don't know. I had the need to share that.
No, definitely. I think Americans definitely have this superficial nature to how we live. But now that you're in the city, what are your favorite things to do around New York?
I love Prospect Park where we are.
Yes.
I live like a few blocks from it.
Yeah.
I love to go to Brighton Beach sometimes to like look at the water there and to eat Russian food there. That's
it's a huge
there.
Russian community in Brighton Beach.
What else do I like?
I never eat Russian food. Like, what is Russian food? I don't even know any Russian dishes.
Well, they have like a typical Russian dish would be like borscht. It's kind of like a soup kind of thing. It's very meat heavy. Yeah. But what I love is they're like the bakeries that they have. Oh. They have like, you know, kind of like pierogi or like doughy kind of things with like doughy, more like bakery kind of things with cabbage or meat or sweets or potatoes, mushrooms, things like that. I like Greenpoint too.
Yeah, Greenpoint's great.
I like going to like parts of Williamsburg. I go to Williamsburg for work.
Yeah.
I like going there. You know what I like what I really enjoyed since the pandemic is I ride my bike
Yeah.
much more in Brooklyn, not out when I go to Manhattan. But I started doing that much more, and now it's kind of like almost my primary mode of transportation. 'Cause
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
the same time, or you'll get faster with it from Brooklyn to Brooklyn.
Yeah. Here, wait. People can't see. You have a very unique looking bike.
I do. Here's my bike.
Yeah, let's do a little bike. Oh.
It's a European bike.
Yeah,
it's
it is a European bike.
It's street. It's Dutch.
Wow.
It's a foldable, but I never fold it. But
Wow, it actually folds up?
It folds up, but I never fold it.
No, yeah, of course.
It's super light, and it has plastic chain.
Do people ever comment on your bike when you're riding it around?
Yeah, I get it. It was like really funny. Like this girl, like 2 weeks ago, I was like, I was biking and she was next to me and she's like, dude, that's awesome. And she was like taking like videos and pictures of me. I guess she's a bike enthusiast.
Yeah.
But I thought that was pretty cool.
No, that is awesome. I've never actually heard of a bike that just folds up. Is that a very European thing, or is that just...
I don't know. It's a hand-me-down. I got it from a family friend here in New York like 12 years ago. And I still I still use it.
Yeah. How about any American entertainment? Is there any entertainment you've seen since being in America? You're like, wow, like this is on a whole other scale.
Oh yeah. Because so my husband is in PR entertainment for music.
Okay.
And he through him, like, he takes me to a lot of like concerts and things that I would never go to otherwise myself. And I have to say one of the top ones were up there is Dolly Parton. Forest Hills a couple of summers ago, or it was pre-pandemic. We saw Toni Braxton in Jersey.
Oh my God.
Atlantic City. That was amazing.
Yeah.
What else is up there? Oh yeah, and we saw. she was cool. We saw Patti LaBelle at King's Theater.
Wow, that's amazing. So wait, how'd you meet your husband? You met your husband in the U.S.?
Yeah, we met online.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where was your first date?
At an Indian restaurant in Prospect Lefferts Garden.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And was it love from the first moment you met him?
I wouldn't call it that, but I had a feeling that he's a keeper.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What made you feel that way?
There was something just like really kind about like his face and like his smile and like his demeanor.
Are you a big energy person? You're big off just energy you feel from people?
That's so funny that you ask. Well, I started like a new career almost 5 years ago now in Reiki and sound healing, which is like energy work.
Sound healing?
Yeah.
Can you describe that to me?
So a lot of people use instruments to do it, like crystal bowls or gongs or sort of like a lot of instruments, like a shruti box, which is an Indian instrument.
Yeah.
And you kind of like make these environments where it's a little bit like, think of like yoga studio where people go and lie on mats and then you kind of do a little bit of a guided meditation and music. So I'm partly interested in that, but you can also, the course that I took, you can use it with a human voice. Whoa. The human voice has like properties. It's done on a very intuitive level. Mm-hmm. And Reiki is a Japanese touch therapy that, you're kind of like on a massage table and you, with your hands, you go down the body through certain like energy centers. Whoa. They follow the path of acupuncture, like the meridian centers. Yeah. So, I
just tried float therapy for the first time.
Oh, in the closed thing.
Yes.
Was it the one in Carroll Gardens?
It was the one in Carroll Gardens.
It's so funny that you say that because yesterday I biked by there and I was like, I wonder if it's still there because I wanted to try it years ago. And how was it?
It was great. And the fact that you said sound therapy is like, man, I want to try this because I tried float therapy and I completely forgot where I was. I left you're in this like egg, right?
Yeah.
I left the egg. My body was like numb. It felt like I literally forgot where I was the last hour. I just blacked out. And it was an amazing experience. Like I loved it. The Epsom salts in the water just completely revitalized my energy. And now I'm completely bought into other forms of therapy, like these healing properties. So there's something in the human voice. What is it? What are you trying to target with people? What are you trying to make them experience?
So it's kind of like you're trying to kind of tap into, I usually do it in a group setting, although I've done it one-on-one. You're just kind of like trying to tap what we called like the energy field, because we have this like human body and it ends at the end of our skin, but there are like layers of energetic bodies that we don't see that are like around us. Like when you're like stressed or whatever, you'll feel like that there are like vibrations around you that are not your physical body, but that's our different layers of us. Some people call it aura, some people call it energy, some people call it, there are different names for it, but they're definitely layers of us that go beyond the physical body. And it's like vibration, and sound is vibration. So through sound healing, whether it's voice or different instruments, you're able to balance like our energies that are sometimes out of whack. And the way that we live our life, especially in New York City, sometimes it's most of the time out of whack. Because we don't take time to take care of ourselves or go be in the sunshine for 30 minutes or you know what I mean?
No, of course. Especially with phones and technology today, it's impossible. So is the sound you're making, is it like a preset thing? Is it like a
no,
or are you feeling the energy
I'm feeling
of the
the
person?
energy. What's preset sometimes is like even that's not preset. Like I always have in the background something, whether it's a crystal bowl or a Shruti box, but it will be whatever I'm like feeling. However, I see that sometimes I produce similar kind of sounds that are maybe reminiscent of nature or whatever, but it will never actually be completely the same because you're different that day and stuff. So, but I have a residency, healing artist. I'm a healing artist in residency with this place called Mothership in Greenpoint, and I do these closed sessions for artists once a month. So I'll invite, and it's a really cool, you know what a teepee is? Like so it's in a teepee that's like, I don't know, like 10 feet tall. So I'll invite you to the next one.
That'd be great. That is so cool. So you're making the sound with your own voice and you're feeling their energy and changing the vibrational.
I change like, I kind of like try
based off
to
what you're feeling.
tune. I try to kind of like tune my body and my voice to what's going on in the room, or just trying to create a certain atmosphere or
That's so
like
cool. That's so cool. Because I just read this book, The Power of Now, and I just read this chapter.
Eckhart Tolle.
Everyone tells me to read it. It's a super popular book. And he described pain bodies, right? This thing he referred to as pain bodies, where it's this energy, these thoughts that try and enter your mind. And the more you give it attention, the more you feed it, the more it grows and the more it can take over and consume your body. And ever since it was described to me that way through that book, I'm like, wow, whenever these negative thoughts get in my head, it's just these energies that are trying to feed off me, you know? And so that's so cool that you do this. Seriously, I think it's like one thing we need so much more in society.
That's what a lot of people say when they like, what these are good for, sometimes these sound kind of things, is that it puts the brain, because all our brains are like overstimulated with phones, whatever, social media things. So this, when you're away from that, the sound can kind of entrain the brain to kind of go in a more meditative state. And it's actually, you can quantify, like people have done research, you can quantify that our brain waves have like certain amounts that they like, they call it theta, beta, and it's a certain amount of hertz that sound is measured in, that the brain goes into. Whoa. So it's like, it's very also quantitative, if you will.
Oh my God. Do you think I could hear like 5 seconds of sound therapy just for a second?
Well, it's...
you don't have to. You definitely don't have to.
I would have to kind of concentrate
a
little bit.
Totally.
Just kind of like, we're outside right now.
Yeah, no. I'm going to try and relax my energy as well. Yeah, I can hold it. Oh, you got it? Okay. I'm going to just increase the sensitivity. Okay. Wow. People might not understand. I was entranced right there. You have no idea. I was putting my head back. That was amazing. I can totally see the benefits of that. That's beautiful.
And it's actually really amazing that because you were wearing headphones.
Yes.
So like if people like hear it, it's all about the quality of the sound and stuff.
No,
but,
that was in my ears. I felt that. That was real. I was thinking about the energy I was giving out. I didn't obviously want to stress you out either. I was thinking about the energy I was giving out as well. It completely calmed me right there.
And I was trying actually to calm myself down as well. But you actually gave me now like an idea of like with headphones and stuff.
It could be amazing.
Produce like something with it.
No, I'll get your information. I'll put you on to this audio mixer, these mics. Like, I think it'd be really beneficial because even when that plane went by, I was like, oh, maybe this is going to mess it up a little bit.
But it didn't matter.
In the slightest.
I was also like, okay, it's in the background and stuff.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter.
Here, hold your mic up so it catches you. Yeah, it didn't matter at all.
Yeah, it didn't matter.
Wow.
Cool. Yeah, we should
That
definitely
was so cool. That was so cool.
Yeah.
Boshko, one last thing.
Yes.
If you had any message to the world, right? If you had one thing you would want everyone in the world to hear, what would it be?
With everything that's happening right now, I just think that we need a little bit more understanding from each other.
Yes.
On both sides.
Yes. Think open-mindedly. I love that.
Yeah.
Embrace all.
Yeah.
Beautiful, Boshko. This was amazing. I'm going to get your information.
This was really
I'm
cool.
going to do sound therapy.
Yeah.
I'm so happy I ran into you
I
today.
am really too. This was like an amazing conversation.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, absolutely. All right.
Yeah. Okay.
Bye.